representing everyday Black millennial women of multiple faiths, cultures, and freedom fighters. This is Afnan and Farah with Rooted Black Girls.
Hey. All right, Afnan, we are here. This is an evening shoot, so a little darker in our places, but still fun nonetheless. How have you been? I know we were talking about possible COVID in the family, and everyone was kind of pseudo-quarantining.
Yeah.
What were the results? Tell us.
Alhamdulillah. So we got our results back within 3 days. Everybody was negative, alhamdulillah.
Oh,
so that's the only reason I'm on here, because I was shook, right? So we had 2 people in the family who were who we thought might have been positive, and so we weren't sharing bathrooms. It was like mask. It was like jail, dropping the meals at the door. But alhamdulillah, everybody's doing good. How about you? How have you been holding up? What's been going on with you?
You know, I was touching base with one of my really good friends and a friend of the pod, but we were talking about how for people who are maybe largely optimistic most of the time, we're finally hitting the swing of COVID where we are getting like the COVID blues, you know? And it's a normal, natural thing. There's ebbs and flows during this experience of, self-quarantining and social distancing.
Right.
For some of us, others are doing
those of us who are engaging in social distancing.
Yeah. So we were just talking about how we sometimes need like mind-numbing activities to get through this, and so she just embarked on the journey of Real Housewives franchise on Bravo.
Oh man!
And she's been touching base about like Nene and Sheree and just all our fun characters and people of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so I think I'm kind of coming up on the upswing here and feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you been experiencing the blues, or did you have it earlier? I feel like you told us you had.
Yeah, I feel like the first couple of months when folks were really struggling, like I was like, okay, alhamdulillah, like I'm cool, I'm hanging in there. It was like month 3 or 4 for me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it was the small things. It was like the Target runs and grabbing coffee and not overthinking, like, okay, sanitizer, gloves, pumping gas, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to, you know what I mean? All of those little things started to all those little things started to weigh on me, kind of. But alhamdulillah, I kind of came through it. And I think for me, it's not even like a second wave, but I'm starting to think like, are we going to be in this for another 6 months? Because of the way our country is handling
longer.
Don't say that.
I mean, I think we're not going to get out of this until summer 2021.
Ooh.
I know. Get your flu shots, y'all. I think it's going to be an interesting winter. There are already positivity rates in New York City are going up.
No way.
And that's and then in Middle America too, cases are going up. And so I think we are going to naturally see an uptick as the weather gets colder and people become more susceptible to being sick and infection. And inshallah, they don't. And they're, on the elderberry and steaming and doing everything that they need to do to miss this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, amid COVID blues, then we have the Orange Man.
Listen, yes, it kind of took over all of the news outlets. I honestly didn't believe that he had it, quite frankly. I didn't believe it. I thought I saw something where they were talking about like the October surprise and it's like a political game. But then so many other Republicans started popping up within. I was like, okay, so is this like a strategic effort that across the board that they've attempted to do to bury how terrible his first debate went, or to bury the revelation that he paid $750 in taxes, federal income taxes? So I don't know. I think initially I didn't believe it, but now I'm not sure. What about you?
I was under the same impression. I was like, this is a hoax. Remember last time for the Hillary Trump election, 2 weeks before, James Comey, the FBI director, released more emails and then it tanked her election. I think she was going to win, right?
Yeah.
Trump has been losing in the election for early voting right now.
Yeah.
In addition to, again... in addition to the debate, it was a mess. It was like 2 toddlers. When he said, man, will you just shut up?
I saw the meme where Obama was like, had his head like this and Biden's in the background, like smiling. He's like, when he went low, did you go high? He's like, so I told him.
You can't play high with this guy. You gotta kind of play low, but very smartly,
Yeah,
and Delta, we call it nice nasty.
Nice, nasty. It's a thing. It is
Delta
definitely a
Sigma
thing.
Theta Sorority Incorporated gave me a great mind around like business etiquette and like when someone jabs at you, how to do it professionally, how to wrap them
Mhm.
together, you know?
All the
Because
way,
sorors
yes.
do it all the time.
All the time.
All
And
the
the
time.
older sorors, don't get me started on the Delta
Oh,
Deers.
the
Listen,
Delta Deers.
okay? But
Love the
anyway.
Delta Deers. But yeah, I thought it was a complete hoax until I saw that the helicopter, Air Force One helicopter, picked him up and then took him to Walter Reed. Walter Reed, I used to work there in the clinical
Did
rotation.
you?
Yeah, it is not, I don't think those 4-star generals, those doctors, they are going to play Trump's hoax game. And so I was like, dang, he is, I think, really contracted the virus. I think it's maybe a great ploy for him to distract us in this election. The economy is failing. COVID, we've hit 205,000 deaths, not
That is
including the count for
wild.
this weekend.
Yeah.
7 million people infected in the United States. It's a mess. He's created a complete mess. And it's like your base. What are
Yeah.
you guys holding on to? This guy's a disaster. He
Yeah,
doesn't have 2 legs to stand on.
I heard someone to say, like, what else does he have to do to lose your support? Like,
Yeah.
what else?
Nothing. They will ride into hell with him. White hell.
Yeah. And I don't know what they're holding on to. Like, that's the part that gets me. It's like, I understand, like, everybody has their things, but at this point, who has he supported? Who has he moved forward and
The rich.
advanced? How?
The
Like,
rich.
who?
Jeff Bezos.
Yikes.
Yeah, the rich. He's advanced and supported the rich, and he's evading $400 million in taxes. And for the leader of the United States, the president of the United States, to have money debt that any world leader can hold over him when he's making decisions is foolish, you know? And I am completely flabbergasted by the situation that we're in here, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. The orange man is a joke to me. He really is. You know what was funny is that when I was reading the New York Times Instagram page, I was like, let me look at the comments like first thing in the morning. And someone said, they're like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has successfully won her first case against God with God. Yeah, and you know, when I look at it, I'm like,
it's terrible.
Isn't it? The comments were hilarious. Someone said, there is a God.
Alhamdulillah.
The thing is you're the leader of this country with 205,000 people who died. You low-key deserve COVID. Like, I'm never going to wish like harm or death upon anyone, but like, you know,
reap what you sow, bro.
Reap what you sow. You are over here being very loose around wearing masks and encouraging your followers not to wear, not even your followers, United States citizens who could be your followers or not.
Absolutely.
To not wear a mask and giving them horrible messaging around this and conflicting messaging.
And false confidence for sure.
Come on now.
Yeah.
So the orange man has contracted COVID and is creating a spectacle around this too.
Yeah. No, for sure. There's also some other political, I think you went to a rally recently, right?
Oh yeah, today. Yeah, that's why we had to change taping. It was in support of freeing Imam Jamil Ali Amin, who was the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee chair and also the Minister of Justice for the Black Panther Party. And so he was falsely accused of killing 2 Fulton County police officers, and he's been in jail. And they're considering him a political prisoner because someone actually came out and said that they killed the officers, and they pretty much didn't even consider it.
And it's been like, over 10 years now, right?
Yeah, I think he was accused in 2007, and then he was in prison and is serving his sentence since 2007. And so the rally was in support. There were some big heavy hitters. I had no idea. There was, I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was a community kind of event for Black
grassroots event. Yeah.
Grassroots, but T.I. was there. Killer Mike was there. Yusuf Salam from the Exonerated Five was also there. Linda Sarsour was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't know if you like her.
You know, I'm always supportive of like a sister and her rallying around, but sometimes her messaging just doesn't hit me, you know? Yeah. And that's not what this is all about here. But it was a great, people were social distancing. Nearly everyone was wearing a mask despite it being outdoors and people being like 6 feet apart. I was like, if it's going to be one thing Black Muslims are going to do is listen, you know?
Right.
So
like my mama said, don't come back in this house.
I know, exactly. So the event was great. It was coordinated by his son, Kyrie. And
Mm,
so it was a really great event. It was a nice gathering. It was outdoors, a lot of fresh air, great air. And
yeah,
inshallah, we will get an exoneration or
yeah.
a new trial for Imam Jamil Al-Amin.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. This weekend, on Friday, excuse me, after work, Fred and I went to go register to vote. We were kind of like what we told you before, what we were hoping to do is get an absentee ballot from Georgia,
Yeah.
but they've changed the
Mhm.
process to update your address. And even though ours was already updated, for whatever reason, there was like an error. And there was a lot of hoops. And I literally was like, voter suppression.
Yeah,
You know
voter
what I
suppression
mean?
real.
Yeah, and I had a hard time, and I consider myself somebody like who was able to navigate like those online systems pretty well. And it took me over an hour before I was just like, okay, forget this. Let me just register in Texas and physically do it because I don't trust it at this point.
Mm.
So, and then even when we were registering in Texas, it was funny because the website said like in order to register to vote, you need like proof of ID. Man, Fred and I brought birth certificates,
Yeah.
passports, bank statements, everything. And then we got there, and then one lady was saying one thing and another gentleman was saying something else, and it was like a total wreck, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody was, it was disorganized. Like it was quick, like we got in and out, but they didn't check to make sure that we were residents of Texas, quite frankly.
Hmm.
Which I thought was interesting. And I was like, so I had a video of me submitting my
Yeah.
registration because I want to vote early. And they said
Mhm.
it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to process. And so like we're checking it daily on the computer to make sure that we get it. Because if we
Yeah.
don't, we'll be in trouble.
Oh,
So
I'm ready to. I think everyone needs to have a plan in place.
no, for
Here,
sure.
yeah, here in Georgia, early voting starts next Monday on the 12th and ends on the
Mhm.
30th. I
Yeah.
plan on driving to North Atlanta, so I'll be in Alpharetta with the white folks, and I'm gonna
Yep.
vote in peace.
Yeah. Can you vote anywhere? Because I
You can
remember
vote
before,
early voting. You can vote anywhere.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
So I was
Yes.
like, it's you have to go to your designated precinct on voting day.
Yes.
Which I
Okay. Good
know
to know.
in Southeast Atlanta is going to
Don't
be
do
a
it.
problem. Yeah,
Don't
I'm
do
not
it.
doing it. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it. If you're in the city of Atlanta, that's Fulton, DeKalb County, go in early vote number one, and then go into probably precincts or areas of the city where there's lots of white folks because they just vote and it takes 5 minutes, like it should,
Yeah.
like it
No,
should.
for real. For real. Definitely. We're going to try to do early voting. We're hoping that our registration is processed by then, which is why we're checking it every day. I think ours starts on the 15th, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. So
Yeah.
we're hopeful that we'll be able to vote early because I am playing no games. But either way, and inshallah, like, we're not putting the wrong energy out. But I already put in my request when you were like, oh, I'm putting in my request for the day of and the day after. So
Yeah.
my boss already knows the
Yep.
third and the fourth. Don't say nothing to me.
I was having a conversation and really thinking with a friend and then thinking around this issue myself around voting and voting being kind of within the system, and that the only way to really get a surmountable amount of change where things
Hmm.
can work for indigenous and black people and people of low socioeconomic status that are the labor force for the rich and wealthy,
Yeah.
for the system to finally work for us is a complete dismantling of the system.
Yeah.
So is voting then, and I'll send this to you if not, I'm sorry, Professor Goulet here.
Go ahead.
Is voting then working within the system that will really, does that really work for us to work within the system?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think we've kind of like hinted at this in other episodes
Mhm.
before. I think until people are really ready to lose their lives to get these freedoms, you're gonna have to work through the
Say it
system for
again.
incremental change.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think our generation, and I'm not even going front, like I don't know if I would be on the front lines knowing daggone well I could die,
Yeah.
to get Trump out of office. I don't know if I could do that. I don't think
Yeah.
I would. You know what I
You're,
mean? If I'm just being 100% honest.
yeah.
And I think that's why it's important for all of us to be working through the systems to get the incremental changes. You know what I mean? Because even in the cases that we saw earlier this year that happened in Atlanta, Mayor Soror and Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, her swift action, I think, happened because she was a Black woman in office. And incrementally, the more folks that we see in power who look like us, we've been able to get a little bit, you know what I mean, of a response. And I think that happens through working through the system. That happens through people,
Yeah.
going out for those positions, those elected positions, and for us to vote and things like that. But I agree, like that's not going to be like voting is not the answer to
Uh,
fixing this. It really does need to be. I think you've said it before, completely dismantled and overhauled. From scratch.
And you brought up a great example. Like we have Sora Keisha Lance Bottoms, right? And in the city of blackness, our district
Yeah.
attorney is black, our city council has a lot of black people on it. people still ain't doing well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Atlanta still, like people are not prospering. Black people are not prospering. There's still the hood. You know, there's still homes that are dilapidated, communities with poor schooling,
Yeah.
and we're in what we think is Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Wakanda for
That's
the
our
few.
Wakanda.
That's our, for Black people, Atlanta is the Wakanda of the United States, and people are not doing well. We have a Black government, you know?
Yeah.
And so that just tells you that even when we do elect officials, people are going to work within the system. White supremacy is the system. So even if you see Black police officers in a Black force, they're still working within white supremacy despite them being Black officers, you know? And so that's why you can see a Black officer kill a Black person and it still be police brutality. You know, it's not Black on Black crime. It's a system that's been in place, you know, that's going to try to disarm and disregard and disrespect the people, you know, that it's policing,
Black humanity,
Black lives.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I think that's a good statement because I think so many people are like, oh, well, there's Black police officers, so check the box, like that should solve it. It's like, no, but the training is made by, you know, predominantly white folks who are working in that system. The rules and regulations that apply, the expectations of how they move up, and you know, you always have your puppets who, you know, they're skin folk but not kin folk. Don't get me started with the whole with what I don't even know what his name is from Kentucky. Like
Cameron.
Yeah,
Attorney General.
we're not even going to acknowledge his name. But he's terrible. So I agree with you 100%.
And then I look at Minnesota. The Attorney General there is a Muslim by the name of Keith Ellison, and he brought charges on those officers. So like sometimes the system can work, but most of the time I think people are going to work within a white supremacist way because that's what the system tells you how you can be rewarded within the system. You know? And so we'll see. You know, I do think everyone should, with that said, I think everyone should exercise their right to vote. I think you brought up a great point. There will, when all forces are connected around voting, so let's say every single person votes, and granted, Black people do vote, they come out to the polls, but like if everyone votes, those incremental changes will be massive, you know? It's still working within the system. And yes, it's going to take people to be comfortable losing their lives, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't.
So until then, just like Farah said, guys, if you have not registered to vote, please make sure that you guys do that. There's so many resources to make it really, really simple. But make sure that you're doing that because that's the one tool that all of us can do that will, inshallah, take this man out of office.
We need that.
We absolutely cannot end the episode today without acknowledging your guys' awesome launch, right? Freedom Fighters, which shirt we're wearing. If you guys are watching us on IGTV right now, we're on YouTube. Farah, please tell us about this dope launch you guys just had.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite launches. I'm definitely the person who's like, let's do more streetwear, but then to have streetwear with a purpose, it means everything to me. I will kind of plug in Delta here because being a part of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has always put behind the idea around having a purpose around everything that you do. You know, everything should be purposeful, and that's including what we do with Zia. You know, that I've taken that model, and Nasma and I have really worked hard around studying freedom fighters during this time when we were like, what do we put out that really kind of rises to the occasion here? And so we really thought around the idea around one person's rebel or what someone considers a terrorist could be someone's freedom fighter.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, people think this is funny. You know, you think Somalis and people call them pirates, but you know, they're also, if you flip it, it's like, could they be the Somali Coast Guards? You know, and so there are these examples. We think about. It's a huge perspective. We think about even Imam Jamil Ali Amin, considered a hero among, you know, Atlanta residents, but is considered a terrorist, you know, and a prisoner by the system. So we wanted to kind of look at that. And so we profiled 3 women, one Eritrean woman,
I love it,
a Somali woman, and then a more recent, younger protester, Sudanese protester by the name of Alaa Salah. who was protesting for the immediate removal of the president of
Yes.
Sudan, Omar Bashir. And so, yeah, we wanted to start
Was
with this, but
it?
it was connected to the movement here, even with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, if you guys are watching us visually, I am literally cheesing. Like they did the damn thing. If you guys have not copped your shirts, they will sell out. Are you guys? Do you guys even have more? I feel bad.
Yeah, I don't think people know we have a short sleeve. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
gonna put out some photos around that. So we have a lot more short sleeve, but the long sleeves are almost done.
Yes, cop yours if you haven't, and support our good sisters Nesma and Farah. Thank you guys so much. No, this is dope. This is dope. I always love like super whether it's urban wear or going back to like that thing of purpose, like that mission of purpose. And so it's like it's fly as hell. The artwork is dope. The colors are like right on
she's
par.
like a big Marvel DC fan. So I'm like,
yes,
that's Nusma there. She's got a beautiful eye around that stuff.
Shout out to Nusma with the design. Okay. No,
yeah.
mashallah, definitely get yours if you guys haven't. But congratulations, an amazing launch. Every time, like with the African cities bag, I love that. But let alone like this just amped it another level. So
thank you. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. Well, thank you for the shout out there, Fran. And thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Rooted Black Girls. If you're listening on the pod or through your own podcast hosting site, then please rate and review us, of course, 5 stars only. Yeah. And then also subscribe to our channel and like and share wherever you are. Thank you guys. We love y'all.
Bye.